Hi, everybody, and welcome to this, whatever this is going to be, uh, no context podcast with some buddies. On my Discord, we're going to go from the leftmost to, and then this way, and then around. So, we'll start with Charlie. Introduce yourself for a sec.
Hey, I'm Charlie. You can find me in pretty much any game at this point as RiftDuck. I've got a bachelor's in psychology. I do lots of D&D, League of Legends, all that type of stuff. Stream on Twitch, and just in general, I'm here to create content and have a good time with my friends.
Haley.
I'm Haley. You can find me online in various places as AnxietyLasagna. I have some degrees in various things. Two of them are master's degrees, but they're not important at this moment in time for me. I'm here to make content with my new friends and one friend that I've known for a while, but hopefully I don't out myself as not nerdy enough to hang out with these cool kids.
I will kill people in the comments. Trust me. We're going to skip me for a sec and go down to Alvin.
Hi, I'm Alvin. You can find me anywhere rebranding as Skyebreaker because my old username is not allowed, really. Yeah, I just play games. I'm a gremlin, and I'm here to hang out with some friends and have some fun.
Second to last but not least.
Hi, I'm Dallas. You guys can find me on most places as SharkyHat. I do have a YouTube channel, and when I can get my internet figured out and have a hookup, back to Twitch. But I'm here. I've known these guys for a while now, and recently met Haley here, and she's wonderful. So this is it. This is our podcast, Deca.
Yeah, and I am Jeremy, also known as Decavolty in most places. I've had that username for like half my life at this point, and that's a long time being 32. You can find me on the internet at Decavolty, wherever good Decavolties are found. And I have a Patreon that I write that will be in the notes, I guess.
Yeah, I'll put everybody's links and stuff into the description and all that.
Awesome. It'll be somewhere down here in the description.
That's on me. So.
All right. So tabletop characters. They're just like us. Everybody has. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna steal from somebody else.
That's really scary accurate for mine, so I feel called out already.
Everyone has one, and they all stink.
Everyone has one. They're just like us.
Wash your characters, kids.
Delete your art. All right, gotten all the draw feed things out. We've all played Dungeons and Dragons or some form of tabletop gaming over the years, so probably in basically the same order. We're just gonna go around, say our favorite character, what some shenanigans they've gotten into, race, class, that sort of thing, inspirations, and we'll just go back in the same order.
So originally I was going to talk about my current character here, Atticus, who's a Tiefling cleric, being played in a campaign with Deca being run by Sharky. But we're still getting through his whole arc and developing him, so it's a little more difficult to talk about him at the moment. So I'm going to talk about one that Haley knows a lot about because she was in this campaign as well. I had a human paladin by the name of Anders Tallstag. And so the inspiration for Anders, he started out as a human fighter, and was inspired by a song by, I believe it's Dispatch, called "The General." And basically the gist of the song is that there's this old war general who has a fever dream one night on the eve of a battle, and realizes that all this fighting that he's doing, leading these young men into war and everything, just isn't worth it. He's leading young men to die. He's going against young men that are going to die. And he just wakes up and rallies his troops. And it's just like, go home. Just leave. I'll deal with this myself. I'll deal with the consequences. I'll figure it all out. There's no need for anyone to die. And so in doing that and kind of going through that process, he sort of evolved into a paladin from that point. And so early character levels, he's just sort of like figuring out what it means to be a paladin, what it is now that he sort of, I guess, in a sense, betrayed his kingdom by just deciding to not fight. And he's still trying to be an honorable man and trying to do the right thing. And he gets sucked into Ravenloft through all of this,
As you do.
which is a great place for a paladin to be.
Absolutely.
Clutch.
But given the fact that he's like a 63-year-old man, and he ends up with this young ranger, this young barbarian, this relatively young monk, as just like, oh, these are all babies. These are all children. I need to protect all of these somehow.
Dad.
Team
And
Grandpa.
he's got this like ridiculous AC at level 1. It gets up to like 21 or something. And he just gets crit constantly. Like
Oh my
natural
God,
20s, doesn't matter what his
my
AC
God.
is, just constantly getting smacked around.
That just reminds me of that one movie line. I think it's like Lethal Weapon or something. It's like, I'm too old for this shit.
Honestly.
Anders in a character.
A lot of his inspiration, like, for shit that he would say would come from, like, Reinhardt. They're just looking at Overwatch quotes and being like, yeah, that's about right.
You know, it reminds me of from Magic the Gathering, Banalish Veteran. Here,
It's
I'll
been a
post picture.
while.
I'll put a picture in the Discord chat.
We'll link it somewhere.
No, it's
I
just
think it's
that
more
guy.
for so I think it's just more for you.
That's
but
for our sake.
I can edit in a picture here. Showing
Yeah, that's about right.
That is
Now you have to do it.
Anders energy.
I think one of the most memorable moments of the campaign is we're in this old abandoned house, or like
It's just I love Haley's reaction
mansion.
to story time.
and
I was like, he better
we-
tell this story.
and we find this like emaciated guy basically locked in this mansion, and we're like, all right, let's help this guy out, let's get him back to a town, whatever. And we continue going through the mansion trying to find our way out, and a trap gets set off, and we get just like sealed in this hallway with like a dozen wraiths or something that come out of the wall. And mind you, at this point we're like level 6, so this is not a fight we're meant to win.
I mean, you're in Ravenloft.
So we try to stand our ground for a little bit, and like one person goes down. The next round, like 2 more people go down or are very close to down. And it's just like,
the death spiral begins.
Yep.
Yeah, the death spiral just started real quick. It's like, oh shit.
It's
There's
like when
3
one
of
character
us
goes down, it's just a steady
Exponentially
drop.
goes.
And it's like at this
flies.
point, it's like me, the ranger who is Haley, and our barbarian still alive. And
Those
so I'm
barbarian
like,
things.
all right, this isn't gonna go well. I have to get all of these people out of here. And so he just looks at the ranger, and it's like, just duck and roll. And he's like, what? And just grabs the ranger and tosses her out a window and just yeets her. And he's like, all right, well, that's 1 round. And he just looks at the barbarian and he's like, can you get another one? And we just proceed to go through this. And eventually it's just me and the barbarian Seamus left. And Seamus goes down that round. And it's just like, oh, shit. I don't know if I can get us both out of here.
No.
And so I look at the DM and I'm just like, so if I roll a high enough athletics, can I physically pick up this like pushing 300-pound barbarian and just dive out this window together? And I'm able to do it. And like, I had to go past 2 attacks of opportunity to do it. I'm barely standing. We hit the ground. Both of us are unconscious. Haley's the only one that's conscious out of the party of like 5-6 people just from the fall damage at this point. And it's like, well, we're not dead. I don't know if we're alive, but we're not dead.
Just like Monty
honestly,
Python. It's like, we're not dead yet.
It's just Ravenloft in a nutshell, to be honest.
Mhm.
But Anders was great and nearly met his end multiple times in that campaign. Uh, Between either like pulling a party member out of danger or like there was a session I missed and Haley was piloting Anders that session, and I just get like a frantic like text message or phone call, and it's like, "Hey, you've been picked up by a rock. What do I do?" And I was just like,
I remember that.
hang on. And I'm just like flipping through my character sheet on my phone. And I was like, all right, it's probably not going to work. But I have Sanctuary. It's a long shot. And just Anders lived by the skin of his teeth so many times.
Amazing.
I personally have like paladins are my favorite characters to like play all the time. So I have like an attachment to the paladin class, and every single paladin I play is always like that. It's always like I'm like the last one standing, or I'm barely living with like 1 health, or like 2 death saving throws, and I'm like on my last one. Like it's always something stupid like that. So I feel Anders' pain, but I
Last
love
thing-
him. I love him immensely.
The last
Immediately.
paladin I played has died.
I
Seems to be
remember
running
having
theme.
this like
For when
this backup plan because I was like, Anders is gonna die at some point. He's gonna do something to save this
Yeah.
party or at least a party member, and like I need to save him. So I had this backup plan of like I have the secondary character I'm gonna introduce. I don't really care about them. They're gonna be like from Ravenloft, so they're barely a person anyway. And I
Not
was just
wrong.
like, I was gonna talk to the DM and be like, I want this to be around for like 2-3 sessions, and then I want you to just kill them off. And then everyone's gonna be like, oh my god, you lost 2 characters real quick. What are you gonna do? And then I was gonna have Anders come back as like a revenant and just be like, I'm stuck in Ravenloft. I can't leave here. But
Like,
I'll be
I'm the,
damned if I'm gonna let the rest of you end up stuck here as well.
I'm the Ravenloft now.
Freaking.
That's pretty. That's
I love
awesome.
that. That's awesome. Yeah.
And it never came to fruition, and you can tell by like Haley's reaction that's the first time she was hearing about it.
You remember at every fight, whenever it started going south, I would just be like messaging you on Discord, being like, "What are we gonna do? We're all gonna die." Just
We're
like
all gonna
Yeah.
that was like the first campaign I ever played in was a Ravenloft campaign.
Oh
So I
my
was like,
God.
D&D is scary
Ooh.
and it's sad, and like no matter how good you do, it sucks anyway.
That's Ravenloft.
That's
Yeah, then we did
absolutely Ravenloft.
Tomb of Annihilation, so it like didn't get
Oh
better.
no!
Oh God.
Nope.
We
You've
won.
just been
At what cost?
everything.
Literally.
Anyone have any other questions about Anders before we move on?
I just want to have a really quick anecdote that the next character that Charlie played in one of our campaigns was named Charm. So his 2 characters were Charmanders.
That's
And I was
awesome.
I
like,
love
you did
that.
that on purpose. You
Fantastic.
absolutely did that on purpose.
100% beautiful.
The best thing is I absolutely did not do it on purpose. Next character was a tiefling, which is no surprise to anybody here. And
Given Charlie, I believe him. That he didn't do it on purpose.
Oh,
I've also
was
known
just like,
Charlie for a
this-
hot minute here.
This is going to be a tiefling sorcerer. He's going to have a really high charisma. Like, yeah, charm. He's the charm of the party. He's the face of the party. Let's go with that. And like
Tiefling
session 1,
virtue
they're
name,
like,
it's fine.
Charm Anders. I see what you did there. And I was like, oh, motherfucker. I did do that.
it was completely unconscious. Just
Yep, absolutely.
I can't tell you how many like secondary characters I've had every time I've played a paladin. I'm just like, they're gonna die. It's gonna happen. So I just have like a bunch of secondary characters I never used. They were there. And I'm like, okay, I just used all this time to make secondary characters. Don't get to see them ever.
All right. Let's go to Haley with her character.
Well, coming off of how great and like how much forethought went into Anders, you get my current wild magic human sorcerer Jamie, which if my autofocus would stop being silly, Great. Mine is gonna be blurry. There we go.
yeah.
Hi, I'm back.
We have production quality.
Production quality of a webcam I've used twice now. Human wild magic sorcerer, Jamie, who I am kind of closet cosplaying today.
Woo!
She is a walking human disaster. She has the I guess nobility sort of background where it's like my papa drives an Aston Martin, but then ran away from home, and it's just a teen runaway who's now an adult and has to be how do I even be a person?
How do I do
And
people things?
how do I do people things?
Does she show up
And
late with latte?
Her main character motivations are I want everyone to notice me all the time, but also never look at me ever. Which is really hilarious to play as because I want to use these spells, but I've worked out with my DM that instead of just having the wild magic surge be whenever I use a spell slot, if I say during the game, I'm yeah, she's pretty anxious about this one, wild magic goes off. Or I'm not feeling the most confident in this situation, we'll roll me that wild magic die.
The mental health wild magic.
She, the person who plays her, is anxious AF. So
it's a real Scarlet Witch situation.
Mm-hmm,
I like how your core character concept is Schrodinger's extrovert, where I want to be the attention, but I don't.
Well, she wants to get attention because she's trying to find the person that she ran off with that dumped her, basically. She was in this relationship with this really terrible person, and then he was like, hey, you can't get your magic together, bye, and then just ditches her in the middle of where they were hiding out. And now she's like, well, I have to prove that I'm good at magic so he'll like me again. And then accidentally stumbled into a situation where we now have tricked a gold dragon into giving us as much money as we could ever want. So we're just adventuring for something to do now. So she's like, well, I guess I can get everybody's attention by just having the coolest stuff ever. Because our wizard, she's like, I'm never going to be as good as our wizard. He, because he's a wizard playing Dungeon of the Mad Mage, he has every spell ever. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to be the best magic user in this group, but I can occasionally cause problems by accident. So she just accidentally causes problems and steals every valuable off of anything ever, including the bed sheets. She's done that several times.
So she's a klepto.
We own a pub, and she's like, I want this to be a nicer pub, so if we find a nice set of satin sheets, she's gonna take them, maybe for herself, maybe for the pub. She hasn't decided yet, but her bag of holding is just nice pillows and bed sheets.
Have all this money, I could buy anything we need to fix this pub up.
It's the reverse socialism. It's steal from the poor to give to the rich.
No, she steals. So
that's just
we're
Amazon.
in Undermountain. She's stealing from the drow who have all this nice stuff, and then she's like, we have a goblin at our party, and anytime we find people who've enslaved goblins, we're like, all right, genocide it is.
Oh my god.
And we just
that should not be the first course of action.
There's a couple steps you have to hit before genocide. Usually,
there's escalation diplomacy, to the genocide.
We have a barbarian who can't speak common and can only speak through the wizard because they both can speak dwarven. The wizard, whose main motivation right now is, and I quote, I want to drag my balls across Hallister's head. So I'm hanging out with our druid, who is an 11-year-old child that we're just traumatizing. Just kind of trying to figure out, what are we doing morally in this party besides just, ganking on Undermountain for fun.
I'm waiting on the realization of, are we the bad guys?
Oh, no, we fully... my character, I have her journal here, which is just full of my own chaos notes. I literally have been planning with my DM for, 2 months how to kill our wizard should the time come for it, because I am worried. Haley is worried that our wizard is gonna be like, cool, we've killed Hallister, I'm Hallister now, and I was like, I can't let that happen. That would be
I'm Undermount now.
I'm ready for the wild magic shenanigans.
I think my favorite wild magic shenanigan that's happened so far, which we all want me to turn into a potted plant because we think that
it's the best
hilarious.
one.
It's the best
yes,
one.
Absolutely.
But it
It's just
keeps
like,
working
blam.
out that my wild magic keeps being accidentally helpful, and everyone thinks I'm better at magic than I actually am. Because like
Oh,
we were in a
no.
really tight spot, and I was like, I'm gonna like one thing that she does a lot when she has like 12 armor class. She's like real petite and wimpy. Anytime she wants to like feel like she's more secure, she invokes the power of Sailor Moon, and that protects her. And one time I was invoking the power of Sailor Moon and casting like something like a level 1 something, and I was like, I'm scared right now. And he's like, roll the wild magic, and it was blink, so I was able to move around. And they're like, whoa, that was a really clutch move you did. I'm like, yes, definitely on purpose, and something I can definitely repeat.
I mean,
Can't.
to be fair, sorcerers are charisma casters. They don't have to be smart or wise. They just have to be
This is
No,
true.
apparently good
she
at
is
it.
neither of them. She is neither of those things. She just gets
It's
off
just-
on just like knowing people and being more intimidating than our Goliath barbarian on a regular basis by just like using prestidigitation to look like Storm from the X-Men, and just being really confident and being like, can I speak to your manager? This is absolutely ridiculous.
Oh
Our
no.
latest adventure is we're going through, I think we're on like level 13 or something. I forget how deep we are at this point. We just leveled up to level 13, and we're going through this like fortress of hobgoblins, and we don't feel like fighting because we're like, this is no. So I was like, we're with the Union. Can you tell us if they've implemented your dental plan yet? And they're like, no, actually, we don't have dental yet. And I'm like, they don't.
Oh
even
yes,
have
the
dental.
Shrek 2 plan.
I literally asked the wizard. I was like, should I just go full Shrek right now? He's like, do it. So we literally have
The Shrek 2
like
lie.
we had the druid craft out of wildflowers, like a symbol of like the Hobgoblin Union, and we're just like strolling
Oh my
through, and
God.
anyone who doesn't listen to me, I'm just like, lightning bolt, die.
It's very aggressive Union.
Hey, he was like, we can't let you through that door, and I was like, I can't let you keep breathing. So then we
I
got to go
can't
through the
let
door.
you keep breathing.
I can't let you keep breathing that is up there with I'm gonna allow you to self-actualize before I do this to you.
Oh my God.
There's
Yeah,
a reason
so-
adventurers guilds are just like constantly recruiting. Same Union.
Yeah, so we are the Hobgoblin Union, and it's all just me just talking out of my ass and rolling high on charisma checks. So she has like a 20 charisma right now.
That's the thing though.
The
Sorcerers
sorcerer dream.
Sorcerers don't have to be good at it. They just have to do whatever they're supposed to be good at well. So
Yep, and she's good.
That's high charisma. You just got to convince everybody else that you're good at it.
I don't
Yep.
need to have skill. I'm pretty.
Literally, we got into someone else's tomb during I think the dragon heist portion of it, and it was literally like, hi, I totally like need to get into this crypt thingy because I have this like super dumb project I have to do for like Wizard Academy or whatever, like
all
on my
necromancy.
family tree or something. Charm person we were in.
You'll love to see it.
As somebody who just finished running Dragon Heist, I know all the things you're talking about as you're going through it. So I was like, damn. Damn.
Literally,
Because you're like level 5 when you get to the gold dragon. So like,
yeah,
Jesus
I went
Christ.
all in on charisma because I was like, I was a barbarian in the campaign before it, and the only fun thing about being a barbarian for me is I had a dinosaur named Dennis with a Y, the danger chicken, and which is a whole other story. But I wanted to be able to like talk more and have people not think I was an idiot, but I just went charisma instead of actually making myself smart.
You'll love to hear that. Yeah. Just stat dump, and then maybe you'll get good at something.
Oh, yeah.
You just gotta bounce between the extremes. You're just like, all right, I was a barbarian who was just dumb. Now I just got to play a himbo, so I'm like dumb, but on the other end of the spectrum.
She is kind of, I guess, whatever the female equivalent of a himbo is. I wouldn't say she's a bimbo.
It's a bimbo.
She dresses rather conservatively because she's like, I want to
she
be
a
noticed
herbo?
for like my
A
magic.
herbo, that's what it is.
She's a herbo, yeah. She doesn't want to be noticed for like her actual existence. She just wants to be like, whoa, that girl did cool magic. She's like, yeah, tell everybody you know, but also like, don't look at me.
Witness me, but also don't perceive me.
she's a herbo, so she doesn't eat meat then.
Oh no, she does. She eats meat.
Where's my gun?
You're an adventurer.
Now's
It's
the
like
time.
you're an adventurer. You're going to eat a mutton. So.
Yeah, we get into
Dennis, no.
less. Oh, Dennis the chicken. Oh god, we can talk about Danger Chicken some other day. That would be an entire like saga.
Oh boy.
Let's be
He made
drip fed.
it almost all the way through.
Drip fed through the series.
We're just gonna have a supercut of like the Danger Chicken.
Like, you know how The Simpsons has that like series on the TV that's going on in the background, and you can kind of piece it together.
Yeah,
Same thing with Dennis.
Dennis.
It's the McBain.
Yeah, this is your heads up. Piece
Then
Dennis
the lore
together.
drop for Dennis this episode is his name is spelled like the restaurant Denny's. Give me my face.
Your camera's
That's
taking
the opposite of your face. There it goes.
There you go.
Your camera's listening to your story, and it's like, don't perceive her. But don't perceive her.
I'll learn how to use my webcam before we film again.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions for the lovely sorcerer that's in the Undermountain right now?
Oh god, I hope not.
All
That's a
right.
pretty
You're-
good picture.
Your most
That's a pretty
your
good picture.
most memorable wild magic.
My most memorable wild magic? Oh god. Probably when I was at like 10 hit points and we were trying to beat something that we shouldn't have been trying to fight and rolled
As you
wild
do.
magic and it was the fireball detonated on yourself.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
But my DM took mercy on me because he is a merciful god, and let me use all of my sorcery points to let my party, who we were all really clumped up, auto save on the saving throw. So only I went unconscious.
What
And they're
a-
like, "Well, that was really cool, but like you can put it away from yourself." And I'm like, "New spell, new spell."
I love that. All right. If there's nothing else, then we will move on to Alvin.
So this is definitely one of my more recent characters. I don't play D&D as much as I think you guys do, so my characters are kind of far and few between. But I wanted to do a Fantasy High sort of adaptation from Dimension 20. It was my first Dimension 20 like campaign. I fell in love with it immediately. So I got some friends together, and I ran the campaign. And I wanted to make an NPC. I wanted, somebody kind of like the big bad, but like for school. So I made a half orc war cleric, and his whole backstory was like his family, his human side of the family came from like a long lineage of like war clerics, sort of like like the army like family. And he's like the next one in line. He was
The
captain
legacy.
of yeah, exactly. He was the captain of the Skull Kicker team, which I made like soccer but fantasy, right? And I think one of the most memorable moments I had with him is like they were having tryouts, and they were just sort of like harassing the new freshmen and stuff like that. And
As you do.
as you do, making them run drills and stuff like that. And he was hazing them and like giving them noogies and shit. And he crit on one of his like noogie like checks. And some of the PCs were like really clumsy, so they were like taking like a couple points of damage, but everybody's level 1, so like they only have like a handful of hit points.
You have like sub 17, I think, at max. Because
Yeah,
D12
it's like-
plus
Yeah.
5 for a barbarian. So
Yeah.
anything below
And,
a 17.
Yeah, so like it's just a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there from running drills and stuff like that. It wasn't intended for like, oh, you're gonna be at 1 hit point, for the rest of your school day. But he crit and like noogied one of the PCs unconscious, and like their body like hit the ground. Everybody's just like staring, and he's like, "What do I do?" He's like, "I'm a war cleric. I don't actually know how to heal people yet. Like, I have a
I'm a
mace."
doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor.
The dice giveth, the dice taketh away.
Yeah, and it was just fun because it's like the PCs are like, "What do we do? They're unconscious. Like, it's the first day of school. What the fuck do we do?"
So you really paid attention to that first episode of Dimension 20.
You really
Absolutely.
did.
It just, I don't know. Dimension 20 was so good to me. Fantasy High was so good, and I just really wanted to run a campaign. But that was my character. He's just kind of an asshole all around, and he kind of got better towards the end. We never finished the campaign because I started work and stuff. But yeah, he got a little better. Not much, just a little.
It reminds me of that. I don't know if it's a Vine or a TikTok. You're talking to a future Marine of the United States Marine Corps or whatever, however it goes.
Future U.S. Army soldier.
That's it.
Yeah, he's that's pretty much all it was. Like he just played like the son of a veteran, and like my grandpa and my grandpa's grandpa and his grandpa were like fought in whatever war I was making up at the time. And
My father and my father's father and my father's father's father.
yeah,
It was
and
Lieutenant Dan, but not like self-actualized.
yeah, he had a lot less self-awareness than Lieutenant Dan did. So,
Oh, I
but
love that.
I definitely don't play as much D&D as you guys, so I don't have as many stories about him. Other than that, I really like him. I wanted him to be better, but he rolled too good sometimes.
That
You
happens.
get redemption arcs.
That's true.
I'll say I absolutely have a soft spot for like fantasy mythical high school settings. So like Fantasy High. My friend made a custom like World of Darkness one that we did. Watching like Monster Hearts when Critical Role did Cinderbrush.
Mhm.
It's like all of those things. It's like, oh yeah, I remember how much high school sucked.
Yeah, one of
Now
the
let's add in the fact that I'm a vampire. Okay, cool.
yeah, one of the games that Kevin is running, Tulio's player. We were playing Cypher, and it's basically My Hero in Sky High, where we're all
I love that.
we're all superheroes in a high school. In our class, the PCs specifically are the delinquent class, all the kids that come in with a history. And it's like, we're just gonna put you all together, and it's like that's not gonna backfire at all.
That's the worst
So-
idea.
Go
So it's-
Elves. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Hi, I'm an academic. Where did you envision that character going if you'd finished the campaign?
I really wanted him to have a redemption arc. I really wanted him to come in like clutch, like at the end, sort of. I mean, like Fantasy High, but like he was the big bad for the students, and then he comes in and like has the self-actualization, has the self-realization that he can be different than the rest of his family and do good, not fighting. So that's sort of what I wanted to do with him. I'm hoping I can give him that redemption one day. But yeah, I just wanted him to like really come in clutch. Like when the PCs were like on their last like legs, he comes in and like heals everybody, gives everybody like an inspiration boost, and like really just like is like fuck you to like the big bad evil guy.
Nice.
BDEG.
Guys, I
that.
learned the healing spells.
I figured it out.
Mass healing word like, I got it, guys! I did it!
It smites everybody by accident.
Fuck!
Say,
Oh, wait,
"Your
no,
wounds,"
sorry, wrong-
accidentally
wrong
cast
page.
inflict
Wrong,
wounds.
wrong one. Can I get a redo?
Run it back.
All right.
But yeah, I think I'd want to, if I get the chance, I'd like to do another Fantasy High sort of based campaign, either playing it or DM it. But yeah,
That's super cool. All right. The penultimate person here. What's up, SharkyHat? You're the one that kind of kept it from everyone else. They're like, nah, I'm gonna keep it and save it for the show. Go
Yeah,
for it.
because like everyone's like posting paragraphs, and it's like that's going to kind of
For the
take away from the
content.
reveals.
I can
Sorry,
assure
buddy, I
you,
got
mine
I
did
changed
not.
it up for you.
I thought long and hard about which character of mine was my favorite to play, and I think I'm going to have to go with my Tiefling from my friend Jig's campaign that we finished. And it was the first campaign we finished, so I got a bronze miniature made of him from Hero Forge. So it was like the $90 like bronze miniature.
oh my
And I was
god,
like,
yes.
I'm gonna start like
Wow.
trophying my characters whenever we finish campaigns. But I didn't start the campaign with the rest of the group. I came in a little bit later, and my character can only be described as chaotic. He didn't have a goal with the party. He was just along for the ride. And my friend worked into the story. A member of his family was like involved with everything, so it's like cool. I have an actual stake like in the story, despite not being there for the setup and all that. And Mr. Morthos, I pulled from the book. I couldn't think of a name for him. Had a cowboy hat. He was a warlock of the fiend, and we ended the campaign at level 20. We played it for about a year and a half. Yeah. So I went 18 warlock, 2 paladin, and dedicated him as a. There was a Oath of the Hellsworn, like custom class that I found. Basically, it's a paladin of the 9 hells. So I was like, cool. Let's just commit to his service to Asmodeus and just make him a paladin warlock. But the road to that had several moments I'm very happy about, of slapping a boss across the face with a scroll of planar shift and taking them away from their power source, which was preceded by riding a earth elemental through the ground and basically Kool-Aid Manning into the arena, which was then followed by it throwing me at the enemy in order to slap them in the face.
Jesus Christ.
So it was like the earth elemental came in, launched me at him, and it was just with a scroll.
Be gone, fought.
And it's just like
an action movie.
Just like sitting on the ground, like, we did it. Like, and there was like other things that happened. He was like, when everything's going to shit, he's like, I'm gonna see what this does. And usually led to something being blown up or something else happening. It got to the point where it was Crown of Stars and Eldritch Blast just being like a Macross missile attack with energy beams. Because you got to the point you have 4 Eldritch Blasts for your cantrip. So it's just that, and I think, no, it was 18 Warlock. Oh, that's what happened. It was 18 Warlock 2 Fighter, because we got the deck of many things, and Morthos drew the Fate card, which lets you do something, and I fucked the timeline. So we were allowed to do we were allowed to do a change to our character to reflect like what happened since a key element was taken out of the past. And I was like, can my key element be not being a warlock at level 1? And that's what I put all the points into Paladin. So
oh my god.
And it was like, you know what, I'll allow it. So the last fight, I'm just running around as 18 Paladin 2 Fighter. And I was like, this guy changed the timeline and got muscles. So, but that campaign ended, and I've used it as kind of a setup for my world, where Morthos does exist in the campaign world, because all the worlds are their own thing in the multiverse. And he's currently going around the multiverse spreading a bunch of gold coins because they trapped Thursdune, the god of chaos, into 30,000 gold coins, and he's just been going around to different universes and chucking them into places, so they can't put their god back together.
He's the Oprah of the multiverse. You get a gold coin, you get a gold coin.
That's why in my campaign setting, it's usually more of the Pathfinder story, where their big chaotic god is Ravagug instead of Thursdune, because Thursdune doesn't exist in that multiverse because Morthos trapped him.
You took the lessons learned from Voldemort's Horcruxes and applied them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to apply them, but I'm also going to just apply them across many different universes in the multiverse.
It's just like,
that is wild.
Ain't nobody finding this god.
Listen, I'll always take an opportunity to dunk on Harry Potter.
There was a point.
Like
there was a thing with Kevin was playing in that campaign for a little bit, playing character Diego, because he's just all about Road to El Dorado. He has Diego. He had Diego, and now he has Tulio in this campaign.
Oh boy.
But like they were, like those two were like best friends, and he was just always screwing with Diego when he could. So it was fun. We got to a point where the other players were like, honestly, Dallas is the main character at this point. We're just along for the ride. So
that's
like,
wild.
he's
coming from like not even knowing your stake in it to like being the main character.
Yeah, they were like, whatever he's going to do, it's somehow going to work. So we're gonna go along with whatever Morthos wants to do at this point. It's worked out every time in the past, so we have no reason to doubt it this time.
It's a DMPC thing. You spend all this time like, I have a good idea for a player, and then you finally get it, and you're like, I got this. DM brain just keeps optimizing it.
I think it's just more dumb luck for me as a player that things work out the way that they do, especially with roles, because when we played an Anima game, it's another system, my character there had a minor chance of completely paralyzing a boss with a vial of poison. And he threw it. It was a good roll for the throw. And then my friend running the game rolled the worst he could to try to resist it. So he was like, I had planned like a long, like 2-hour fight so we could fill up this session. There was going to be like phases and stuff, and he just can't fight anymore. And I was like, cool, sorry I ruined your boss battle 5 minutes into the start of the game. Because I started the fight
I now have no sympathy for you as a DM anymore, Sharky.
I really don't.
It's just what was it? The moment it's just like, hey, or Kevin's like, hey Dallas, I have a Sentinel now as a feat, and I'm like, what? Because I didn't know that he took it at the level up. And I was like, what does this do again? It's like, oh, it stops him from moving away from the threat range. And I was like, oh, well, this boss is just going to get stomped now because he can't leave. So
terrible.
And I was like, well, that's the thing. But yeah, I love Morthos, and I have him in my closet in my miniature box. He's just a bronze.
Immortalized forever.
Yeah, he has his cowboy hat, a Tiefling cowboy hat. He has a Diego sword because that's what got him his first level of fighter. As I leveled up and started using Diego's sword as a weapon. But I was like, I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start making trophies of all these minis that I complete campaigns with.
That's actually a really cool idea.
I have all of mine on Hero Forge. It's just a matter of like when I get the funds to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the plan.
It was like $90, and I think it was like multiple weeks to receive it. But it came out nice. Like, it's bronze, so it's like there's no real like detail. It's just a shape. So
it's a vague bronze shape of your Tiefling.
Like there's still like enough detail in it to.
It's like a little statue, and you can just like put it in like one of your settings one day.
Yeah.
And it's like he's just a hero.
Yeah. But that was fun. That was a fun campaign.
Does anybody else have any questions about Morthos, the weird Asmodeus worshipping paladin?
I think more campaigns need more like funny time travel, multiverse sort of ideas behind them. Because I love the idea of multiverse and like time traveling, but I'm not like intelligent enough to like figure it out.
I think I can't remember exactly what I had done with the fate card. I think I was holding it, and the party was arguing, and he asked a question, well, what if it wasn't this guy behind it all? And that's what affected it, because it completely removed that guy from the situation at hand.
He's just gone.
So my friend Jake was like, oh, fuck, I need to figure out like who's actually behind this now, because it's not him anymore. So...
And we'll call the session there, guys.
Yeah, he called it. We took like a 2-week break so he could figure out like using what we've had in the campaign so far to kind of like put things into like a new perspective.
Nothing I've planned.
Your fate.
Would you?
We were playing pretty fast and loose with that deck of many things. I think we drew like 9 cards out of it.
Jesus Christ!
So. It was like draw good card and draw good card. It's like my turn, draw.
Cards where you could just straight up die in that thing.
The one of the girls that we were playing with, her character suddenly had a knight standing next to her, and he's like, "I've come to assist you." Because she got the knight, she got the retainer,
Oh,
card. And that guy was
That
with
reminds-
us. He was with us in the final battle. He leveled up with the party.
oh my
Oh,
god.
that's cool.
Wow, that's so funny.
That reminds me of like the TikTok that's like, when will you realize that your actions have consequences?
All right. Well, nothing else for the boy.
Come on,
I think
Deca.
I've got
Tell us your
one
favorite.
thing.
Yeah, tell
I've got
us.
one thing for Morthos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So normally, like, if you separate like divine entities and everything, right? Don't they like normally want to try to force themselves back together?
Oh yeah.
So they're just like this like spiral of gold coins across this multiverse, just very slowly converging.
It has to get through, the thing that separates the multiverses. So.
We'll find a way.
Just
think,
imagine some like warlock is like holds a gold coin and that's the
I think-
arcane focus.
I think Kevin built upon that ending of that campaign in one of his one shots, where I think he had Tiamat like sitting on a oddly familiar stack of gold coins.
Oh
I think is
no.
what he described
no.
it as. So Kevin was like doing something with that thread.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
I can visualize it like in my head, like it's a movie scene, like
The-
with
the
the
post-credit
fades
stinger.
like, zooming out. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very sort of like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Where just all the gold's coming together. And it's
Yeah.
like
that
the
one
party
somewhere is
warlock
off.
probably has that last piece.
It's a necklace.
Yeah, it's this thing. I was like, "Hey Jake, yeah." It's like campaign's over, right? Yeah. I got 30,000 gold coins. Can I like shove him into them? And he was like, I think because also I think it came from one of us had a ring of wishes. So I think it was getting the genie that wouldn't dick us over, like whatever that role was. So I was like, put him into these. After he was weakened
Took
enough.
Therizdun
So
and put him somewhere else.
Casually fight Therizdun and then convert him into gold coins.
yeah.
What's the exchange
So-
rate on that?
I think like trying to think
Gold
back to it, I
piece.
was like, God, a lot happened to like get to that point. So
All right. Well, I guess it's my turn.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you guys about a little story about a little guy named Conception. Conception is probably one of my absolute favorite characters, and I mean this in no way am I dissing like Tu or Salvador or anybody else I've made, but like I can put Conception anywhere in any of my D&D games, and it just makes sense. Conception is a millennia-old halfling who is the latest reincarnation of his best friend's friend, who is his patron. His best friend is his patron. Somehow, his name is Kismet, and he just keeps going along the line, trying to stop this. In the game I play him in, trying to stop whatever evil is going on right now. Just the latest in a millennia-old line of like halfling warlocks is just trying to do some. He is currently level 3 Undying Warlock, level 3 Phantom Rogue. Phantom Rogue is the latest one that came out of
Yeah.
Tasha's. It's really cool because you can just like you sneak attack somebody and then you say, I want to do half my sneak attack to that target.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool subclass.
It's really cool. And I can just like and then so one of the things that I've done with Conception is when he hit level 3 Phantom Rogue, I was like, how am I gonna do this? So I talked to my DM, I was like, what if on watch he just fucking stopped breathing? He just died.
Dies.
I was
Oh
thinking
my
about the you can sneak attack and like send half of it. It's just like a guy in the distance, like, what are you gonna do? Stab me? No, I'm gonna stab him. And then you just do it, and it's like the wound appearing in the guy. So I'm like, god damn it.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens. So like he just like one day on a long rest, he was next to his buddy, he's like having a nice conversation, like, hey buddy, I'm glad you're still here. And then he like clangs his side. because his buddy's a warforged. He's like clangs him on the side, and then he just stops breathing.
Oops.
And then they were like on the cusp of burying me. They'd put me like on a tent in like a tent somewhere, like to like get the burial preparation set up.
Was their first response? It's like he stopped breathing. Wasn't trying to let's resuscitate him. It's just dispose the body, like just get rid of him.
It was a while. It was like they tried cure wounding. So the sorcerer happened to have like a token that lets him cast Revivify, but he waited past the minute to use it.
I do love just that concept though. It's like falls over, stops breathing, and then it just cuts to the party kicking him into like a shallow grave instead of trying to like revive him.
No, it was any deader.
No, we legit like I stopped. My character stopped breathing, and I turned off my webcam. I was like, I went and fake rolled stats. I committed to this.
It's the long con.
Yeah,
like
and then
fake death of characters come back multiple times now.
And we what happened is we took a break because like I could see it on my party's face, like some of them were legitimately crying.
No.
Oh no.
So I was like, okay, let's take 10. And then we came back and they finished like burial preparations. They were getting ready to like put me like in this grave that they made, and they were getting ready to like say words, and the warforged went to go get me, and my hand just goes, buddy, I can wake myself up, thank you.
Like, we spent all this money on your funeral.
You did like a player character?
Yeah, I'm a player character.
I was like, oh, like it's the dungeon. I was like, that's hilarious. Like, pull
nope,
that prank.
I'm a player character.
You're a player character. Great, yeah.
Like, oh fuck.
Wow. Okay.
I just
that's
like
wild.
grabbed him by the wrist. I was like, no. And then like he looked up. He's like, I don't know any of you, because just like playing into it some more, because it was like a different ghost in his body. But what happened is they casted legend lore on me, and even information that I, the player character, didn't have about my character, I now have. That's how I know that he's a millennial old halfling walking around like trying to fix this shit. Just the latest incarnation.
I love that like he's like unintentionally like a voodoo like witch doctor.
Sort of.
This very much reminded me of that post. It's like, how do you tell poisonous versus venomous? And it like goes through the like, if it bites you, it's venomous. If you bite it, it's poisonous. And it's like, what if I bite myself and it dies?
That's voodoo.
That's voodoo.
The last one of the whole thing is just like, what if we bite each other and neither of us die? That's kinky.
That's just kinky.
So one of the funniest things that's actually happened to him happened like this Saturday when I just played him. We were on an airship. We're trying to get to like a town, and this portal just opens up in front of us, and like these fucking pterodactyls come running at us, and they have to get through the shield to like. There's like a shield battery. They have to get through that first. So we're like fighting them off. It's like a pretty back and forth battle. I'm standing on the shoulders of, because one of them is like 30 feet up. So I stand on the shoulders of my warforged buddy, who's about 6-7 feet tall. Like I've got like 20 feet on my shadow blade. That's a regular hit, right? In Tasha's, there's an ability called Steady Aim for rogues. So I use Steady Aim. I give myself advantage on the hit. Bam! Proc sneak attack. I'm like, cool, I did good damage. But the problem with Steady Aim is you cannot move after that. Your movement speed becomes 0 for that round because you're like getting the shot ready.
Yeah, it's it's also like the Tabaxi's like movement speed. It's like the cat has to stop before it can move fast again.
Yeah. So the next round goes around. A pterodactyl dive bombs me, hits me, knocks me unconscious. The way these pterodactyl work is if they knock me unconscious, they eat me. So I'm in this thing's mouth, getting ready to be digested. It gets to the other side of the airship, stops there for the turn, and then the paladin comes and stabs the thing, and is like, with its death knell, mouth opens, my body comes out and starts flying off the airship.
This is fine.
I'm unconscious. I'm vibing. Someone feather falls me like immediately. So instead of falling like 500 feet a second, I'm falling 60 feet, or 500 feet around, I'm falling 60 feet around. Just still not great, but someone like polymorphed into like a giant eagle and went and got me. It was wild.
Thank you, Gandalf.
Fly,
My God, that halfling is flying. No. He's
falling with style.
It just cuts to him and it's like just unconscious, like falling through the air.
Ragdoll physics.
Yeah.
So like my so the druid in the party casted healing word on him to like get him to consciousness. So he's like up at 7 HP, like assessing his situation like, oh, not again. And I like as a millennia old halfling to say things like he like says cryptic things like well, this ain't the first time this happened. Probably won't be the last time either.
It's just like
when I was your
it's just the air it's like pterodactyls, airships, and it's like, what kind of life have you lived?
Airships were only invented in the last like 50 years. What do you mean this isn't the first time it's happened?
If I had 2 gold pieces for every time I was attacked by pterodactyls on an airship, I'd have 4 gold.
4 gold
which
pieces.
isn't a lot of gold, but it is a lot of times for this to happen.
Right.
I like how you described the portal opening up in front of the airship. It instantly reminded me of Terminal Montage's Subspace Emissary. Like a portal opens up, the airship's going in, and then a bunch of pterodactyls or something come out.
Yeah, that's exactly how that happened. Now you have to post a GIF like here or something. Oh man.
I like how out of
Conception.
this we had 3 Paladin ultimately. Like I had my Warlock, but he became a Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
We had Charlie's Paladin, Alvin's Paladin. And
Paladins are fun.
Paladins, man.
Haley's Ranger or Barbarian. And then the Rogue. So it's like,
yeah. Barbarian, and now I'm a Sorcerer.
Yeah, it's just like, well, there's the Paladin love for being that player in the party.
It would have been Ick, but like I'm not done with that campaign yet, so I don't want to talk about him yet. And I'm not done with Conception. But the thing about Conception is, like I said, I've used him multiple times in campaigns that I DM. He just pops up. There was one time where he was on a goblin spit in like Storm King's Thunder. He's just like, and I just tell the party, you hear oddly familiar voice that just goes, no, we can talk about this, guys. We can talk about this.
You know what? He reminds me of what Stan Lee is in Marvel movies.
Yeah, he's the D&D he's the Stan Lee for D&D campaigns.
Yeah.
That's like me and Gilmore. I'll throw in Gilmore from Critical Role into campaigns randomly as like a traveling merchant.
Just like a little cameo.
Yeah.
Love that. But yeah, I think that's everyone's characters.
That's everybody.
That's everybody. So, and I just
without
have a
context.
long pause there. Without context.
That's
this
us.
has been
our
first. Go for it.
Let me take over first.
Go for it.
So, yeah, as I say, this I guess it does conclude the first episode of the Without Context podcast. And hopefully, you guys see this the day that you see it. I'm editor, so I need to go through and see what I can do here, and if there's any audio issues and whatnot. And this will probably be
content to work with.
Yeah, this will probably be a weekly thing for us. So hopefully you guys subscribe. We should also at the end of this probably have all the links up, and in the description also we have the flow page. We have everything set up going into this. It just needs to have the content.
Forget that people can like see us. I'm just sitting here like messing with my scarf. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
So we have,
so everything will be in the description. Everybody's personal links to all of our podcast sites and all that. And I guess we'll see everybody next week.
Sounds good.
Bye everyone. Wave.
Bye everybody.